A lot of gamers are quick to be like, I'm not playing this game because it's a girl lead and super woke, and it's like super woke, but just because they got Freya as the main character. I'm a little exhausted of the entitled, never happy victim gaming industry. I'm just gonna say this. I wanna. If you could bear with me for a second, I kind of want to say my piece because I posted a thread where I was pretty much saying like people are over complaining and this and that about the getting rid of physical sales, getting rid of physical disc and physical media, etc. And a lot of people had a lot of pushback. And I just want to say I have a lot of sympathy for some of the biggest talking points on that side. You know, collectors, for example. I want to say two things. I actually was really big into trading games via any trade, like mom and pop trading store. I did that, but most of the time it was GameStop because I was a kid. I didn't have any money, and so I would play games for like years, and then I would like the new system or like I had like 3 or 4 controllers or something, and I really wanted a new game. I didn't have any money, so I'd trade and all that stuff, and I'd get way less than what was valued at. I'd trade in a PlayStation 3 controller like 5 or 6 games and get like a $20 game, But like to me as a kid, that felt free to me. It felt cool, and they used to, sometimes they would include the Game Informer subscription, and so I would get the Game Informer magazines. I still have them downstairs. The Last of Us Part One, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. I have those Game Informer magazines. I'm a collector. I'm a fan. I still have digital or physical copies of a lot of stuff. So I have a lot of sympathy for that. And actually, I just want to put this out because I don't want it to go away. I just don't have the time to go do those things I used to do, and so the digital world works really great for me, and everything else I do is digital. I don't like that PlayStation got rid of the Vita and the PSP store, like the PlayStation Store for those old consoles. I think that's messed up. I don't like that they got rid of the movies that you bought when you bought them through the PlayStation 5 store or PS store. Like I don't like that at all. It's wrong. 100% agree. I also know that there is a very, even though in comparison to digital sales, I also know there is a very big physical component. Even though it's not in comparison to digital, there's still, for example, 50%, almost 50% of Nintendo's market is still buying physical copies, even though half of those games usually have just a license on them. Like I understand the sentiment. Matter of fact, I am very big into vinyl. I still own CDs. I still buy books, comic books. I love physical books. I love physical comic books. I read them digital, but I still buy them physical. And that brings me up to my first point, which is the numbers don't lie. And so what my biggest thing is like I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to defend these like big corporations, which a lot of people are accusing me of. It's not defense. It's just like a pushback at the industry, and everyone has like this kind of hive mind brain where it's like one or two really big people say it, or maybe like even just 10,000 really big people say it, and they're like the loudest minority, and everyone follows behind, but without actually doing anything about it. For example, I don't want books, comic books, and vinyls to go away. So I actively am involved in the physical buying of those. Like I go and I shift through the vinyls, but the statistics don't lie in that 85% of PlayStation's buyer base is buying digital copies. It's not that they're being necessarily greedy. It's just that in basic economics, you don't cater to the highest, to the low minority of your buyer, of your consumer group. It doesn't make any sense. When you do cater to it is when you get to higher percentage range, 30%, even maybe 25 to 35% of people are buying it. It's like, yeah, that's still a big portion. But when it gets down to like 15% and it's dropping consistently, to put it in perspective, the PS4 was doing more physical sales than digital sales. The PS5 has drastically turned. That's what we're talking about, like a 6 to 7 year cycle in these consoles. So we know that's a huge drastic turn. People are moving digital. The digital version was more scarce when the PS5 released than the physical version was. What I mean is like when the digital only versus the one that accepts a Blu-ray. And so that speaks to the consumer market. If you're buying a digital only device, you have no plans of actually buying physical at all. So I mean, like you can't even play them. So these things exist. And look, I can go through the statistics and just read them off to you, but like I encourage you to do the research yourself. Obviously, I'll cite all of my sources in the description if that's better for you. That was my entire point. I will say I don't like this. I don't like that it's going away. I just don't like the loud screaming. You know, gamers are quick to be like, there's so much weird things in gaming industry. A lot of gamers are quick to be like, I'm not playing this game because it's a girl lead and super woke, and it's like super woke, but just because they got Freya as the main character, but then they're doing something like this, which is like kind of being the person you're mad at, being the woke person you're mad at. I don't understand gamers. I'm a little exhausted of the entitled, never happy victim gaming industry. And the fact of the matter is like, this is the highest selling market in the world. Like, it's combined. It's just ridiculous. I'm tired of it, bro. These statistics are from March 2026, by the way. These aren't like some, a lot of people like to reference old articles. No, this is March 2026 that a lot of these studies were done. So here's my pushback against the companies that are going digital only. If you're going to go digital only, things have to change market wise. For example, Game Pass is a consequence of the digital world. It's an answer to that. Everything else is streaming: music, podcast, books. You can even get audiobook subscriptions and like Audible, and I use Spotify for that. And like you get it's like, or you get credits and audiobook listening hours, etc. And I pay for those if I run out and stuff. It's like you get these things. Now PlayStation, I'm like, if you're going to take away that in January 2028, you're launching your platform, you need a streaming platform. That is my pushback against PlayStation. You need a streaming platform that is way better than what you have now. When I say streaming, I don't mean, GeForce Now. Look, I understand if you don't prefer streaming games, that's okay. Me and Chandler are pro streaming because of our lifestyles and the amount of games that we're playing and being able to go on, having the road, etc. Right? But if you're not pro streaming, do what Xbox is doing. Allow the gamers to have an access to a library like PlayStation Plus, like they already have, but with more robust titles, day one releases for sure. Like Netflix, charge a higher dollar amount. Like for example, if you have the right catalog of games, I could see people paying $30 to $50 a month. Look, people were complaining about Xbox Game Pass, but like the truth is, if it includes PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, Vita, a lot of those games, and a lot of those games are optimized for, certain play styles, etc. Some of those are portable. But it's like if you were to include all that for the value, people would pay the $25 to $30 a month to get that, and you have to allow them to download it to play locally. Now, look, they don't get to own the games, but there's another value add back into the consumer, which is that they're paying only $34 a month or $30 a month, and they're getting access to day one releases and all the titles. Like for me, for example, I'm in a situation where I'm about to move and I'm paying for a wedding, and I just funded my own film, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I'm a freelancer, and I have so many games I want to play. Astrobot, I got Ghost of Yotei like a year late, or like I'm not able to do these things because we're talking about couple $100, and I can't even do it physically. Like I can't go, like some of these day one releases don't work physically because they sell at a higher price point. So I have sympathy. I'm like, but Sony and Xbox, make your streaming services robust. Make them robust. Like have tiers if you want. If you want day one releases, have a more expensive tier. If you want to have the AAA titles like from Naughty Dog, like from Santa Monica Studios, it could be $100 a month for day one releases. For me, that's way more value. Look, $100 a month, I can manage for that. If you're like, yo, we're putting out day one exclusives on that, and and you get to play like all the newest games within like 6 months of release on this $100 tier. But then like if you're on a lower tier, you get all the games except for those for 6 months. Like, you know what I mean? A release like that makes sense to me. I would 100. That's way more valuable because I'm not spending $400 or $500 because I'm not going. Anyways, I believe that's a solution that they should do.